I did not intend for the melody to be staccato. And staccato, the Italian word for short, when you play musical notes and you stop them from ringing so that there's a space between that note and the next note. I did not intend this to be that way. I intended it to be legato and campanella. All right, so you might notice that when you listen to instruments like bowed stringed instruments, violin, viola, cello, those tend to have a kind of long sound and a legato sound, unless the music specifies that they want staccato, pizzicato, where they pluck the strings and that sort of thing, or marcato, where they bounce the bow off of the strings. It's a more percussive sound. So here, yeah, we're trying to kind of imitate that bowed stringed instrument sound, like a violin or cello or viola. You could also think of it as woodwinds. You know how woodwinds, you're using breath. You're blowing into an instrument, and sometimes that's moving a reed, making a reed vibrate. And that act of breathing into an instrument tends to give you a longer legato sound. And in order to make those instruments short on purpose, you would have to stop the breath. You would have to breathe in and produce a note and then stop breathing so that that note all of a sudden cuts off. This is true of woodwinds like flutes, clarinets, oboes, bassoons. It's also true of brass instruments like trumpet, trombone, flugelhorn, etc. Those kind of instruments, you have to very purposely make your note short. It's a specialized technique. Whereas making it long is kind of natural when you're breathing into an instrument, when you're bowing an instrument. So plucked string instruments, we have to work a little harder to get that long sound. But I know I talked an awful lot about that, but that's what's most important about this particular duet entitled Lily, is that you make that melody legato and almost like a bowed or a wind instrument. One last thing, you might notice that I sort of do a little bit of a slowdown towards the very end, the fine part of this, after everything's been repeated and you're winding down. I do this ever slight slowdown like this. I didn't exaggerate it this time. Sometimes I go way into that and I slow way down when I do these. That's called a retardando, by the way, a gradual slowing at the end of a piece or during a section of a piece. A gradual slowing, retardando. A lot of Italian words you need for music. And so that time I did it very subtle. I just went like. Whereas I could have gone. But that's a bit much. I don't want to do it quite as exaggerated as that. So I probably did one that you could barely detect. But yeah, I did slow down a little bit towards the end. One last word about this before we sign off here. And that's just what the terms DC al fine and fine mean. I have this in a lot of my duets so that they all fit on one page and you don't have to keep turning pages. So rather than write the music over and over when it's repeated, what I do is I use repeat signs, and you guys probably know what those look like, repeat signs. So you play 8 measures, and you see a repeat. So you go back and you play those 8 measures again. So that gives you the form A, the A section twice. And then that brings you to the next section of the tune, the B section. And so that has a DC al fine at the end of it. And DC al fine meaning da capo al fine, to the head, and then to the fine, to the end. So basically in English, all that means is you get to the end of the page and you go all the way back to the beginning of the page, but only play only repeat the part that leads you to the fine, the first 8 bars. So if you're looking at this in terms of song form, it's A, B, A. And you don't repeat the B section, although you could. If you really wanted to get more music out of this, you could make it A, B, B, A, or any variation of that. That's not how I wrote it, though. I wrote this to be AABA. And most of the duets you'll find in that book, the 10 duets, will be AABA. I use very simple song forms, very simple chords, very scale-like melodies with very easy rhythms to them. Tried to make this for newer players, very accessible. All right, fellow ukuleleans, I hope you enjoyed that from my new book, Duet 3 Lily, Ukuleles 1 and 2. I encourage you to experiment with both parts. Don't just learn the melody. Don't just learn the chords. Learn both parts. Then you'll be able to play it with a friend, and it'll be a lot of fun. Or even have a room full of people, as I did the other night in my ukulele ensemble. We split up, so we had half of us playing ukulele 1 and half playing ukulele 2, and it sounds great. We did one of my duets, and it sounded fantastic. So I encourage you to do that. Get together with a friend or friends, and not just ukulele players. You could have a guitar player in there. This could be played on any instrument, but the world is your oyster. It's full of possibilities. All right, fellow ukuleleans, I hope you enjoyed that. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to click that notify bell, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.